You got downs. I'm not a hellified singer, but welcome to another live stream, a productive Thursday motivational live stream. Let's get into it. Let's address the elephant in the room, which is, and I told you guys in the last live stream, I was expecting more out of Kyrie Irving because of his bad performance in game one. The struggle was real with him. He had to deal with a lot of fans that were, you know, not saying the best or kind things to Kyrie Irving, but, it should have been expected since you used to play for the Boston Celtics. But that's neither here nor there. And I told you guys in that last live stream that Kyrie have to show me something. Even if the Brooklyn Nets would have lost, Kyrie Irving will have to show something to me that, he's, all of that criticism and everyone yelling at him and screaming at him, it did not affect him. His mental game had to be above par. And I said, if he let that criticism bother him going into game two, that they were going to utilize that weapon of mass destruction. And I didn't see anything that was proven otherwise from Kyrie Irving. And KD had a bad night. And just to recap game two, because I got a whole lot of other stuff to get into, a whole lot of material to get into. Game two, the Brooklyn Nets scored, but the Achilles heel of the Brooklyn Nets are they can't defend. So that's why you're getting all of this, all these videos and all these articles talking about Ben Simmons possibly returning for game four or possibly returning in this series to help the Brooklyn Nets. You kept hearing all these news clips and news articles about the possibility of Ben Simmons returning because particularly in game two, the issue and why the Brooklyn Nets could not keep that lead. And, no lead is sacred in today's NBA. You can be up by 30, but you can see that lead evaporate, particularly in this era where, scoring's on an all-time high. And there's a combination of factors of why scoring has gone up. It's the way how the coaches encourage individual play, not a lot of practicing, not incorporating or promoting individual or team defense, and basically, placating to today's players, particularly today's players who have range beyond the perimeter, adapting the Golden State rule, which is throw the threes up because a three is more important than a two. That type of philosophy, yada, yada, yada. But Brooklyn, the others on the Brooklyn Nets, they shine last night. Other than Drummond, they shine. But Kyrie and Kevin Durant had issues during that whole game too. But that's not why I really wanted to elaborate and go into, because the simple fact of it is, hey, it is what it is. The Brooklyn Nets, we already know the Brooklyn Nets. The Brooklyn Nets are known for scoring, but their weakness is individual and team defense. And that's why they keep a lot of teams in a lot of games. And that's why they have the record. That's why the regular season record that they have, that's why they can own up to it. Like Bill Parcells said, you are what your record is. And that's the Brooklyn Nets record. They can't, they can score, but they can't hold their lead or make a series of defensive stops. Okay. But like I said, we're not even gonna trip on game 2. But we're gonna do some just my opinion history. Hold on one second. Sorry about that. I'm trying to get my order on. But if you've been following the channel, if you've been supporting the channel, subscribe to the channel, or if you watch a recent live stream I did, I said about three or 4 months ago, I did a live stream on DOA, the death of the super team. And I talked about in that live stream that these individuals like Kawhi Leonard, Kyrie Irving, Dwayne Wade, Kevin Durant, you know, the era of let's all team up like super friends. Hold on one second. All right, I'm back. DOA to the super team, how those players I just named, they all wanted to pair up and one the twin powers activate, creating super teams, and how everyone talk about this is going to be the new trend, player empowerment, the ability for players to leave the organizations that drafted and put a lot of time, money, and resources in you, and you just play through your contract until you become a free agent. James Harden is a part of this as well. Uh, that era is gone, folks. That era is gone. It's no more super teams. And I talked in that live stream DOA to the super team, and I told you guys this new era of players, the Jaws, um, the Jaws, the Luka Doncic, and I know I'm missing a lot of other players. This new era, they're going back into the old school of doing is, staying with that organization, trusting in that organization to put the right players around you, to hire the right coach for you. Let the coaches coach, let the owners, let the front office personnel figure out as far as what matchups are better for you as far as the NBA draft and free agency, and let the owners own. And now you look at the NBA now, the NBA is a whole lot healthier than it was when Kevin Durant, LeBron James, Kyrie Irving was ruling the world in that era. That era has came and went. And I also said in that live stream, a lot of these guys who wanted to pair up with other superstars and create super teams, I said in that live stream, they're basically going to have a blemish on their legacy, and they're not going to have a lot of longevity in their on their teams. If you look at LeBron James and the Los Angeles Lakers, when LeBron James went to the Los Angeles Lakers, they had Brandon Ingram, Josh Hart, Lamar Ball, LaMelo Ball, Alonzo Ball. Sorry about that. As well as some other young up and coming players. And yes, when Magic Johnson had that team, he was very hesitant to trade all those pieces for one Anthony Davis. Now, respectfully, he would love to have Anthony Davis, but under his conditions. And when he didn't exercise and went along with the get-along game, they got him up out of there, got Rob Pelinka, and Rob Pelinka had no problem getting rid of all of those players because he didn't have no invested interest in those players anyway, coming from the background of an agent, not from the background of a front office personnel or GM. Yes, they won a title in that shortened NBA season, but if you look at ever since they landed Anthony Davis, they're having a hard time even making it to the playoffs, much less the play-in tournament. Look at the future of the Lakers right now. Is it healthy? No. They sacrificed the longevity of that of that team, the health and the status of that team. They sacrificed all that young talent, resources as far as draft picks for one shortened season title. And all titles are created equal. I'm not hating. I'm not going to call it a bubblicious title. I'm not going that far. If you look at Kevin Durant, I also talked in that same live stream how if Kevin Durant would have just stayed with the Golden State Warriors, went through the lumps, the pain, the bruises of waiting on Steph Curry to get healthy, Klay Thompson to get healthy, if he would have stayed with the Golden State Warriors, he probably will be playing as of right now with the Golden State Warriors, going for another title and building on top of the resume that he has as far as his legacy goes. And I told you guys this was not going to look good. I felt like when Kevin Durant chose Brooklyn Nets, it was a personal reaction. I think he allowed his ego to make that decision. I think the best basketball decision for Kevin Durant to do was to stay with the Golden State Warriors. And look at them. He went to the Brooklyn Nets. Him and Kyrie, they felt like they didn't have enough. The pieces that they had, plus with that coach, if Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving would have played a little more together and kept what they had, plus build on top of the draft picks and the other younger players, who knows? But I felt like Kevin Durant's chances were better with the Golden State Warriors. And ever since he has landed with the Brooklyn Nets, he has won diddly squat. And now they're facing elimination in the first round against the Boston Celtics. If you look at Kyrie Irving made a lot of bad choices along the way. He's no stranger to this. If he could have stayed with the Cleveland Cavaliers with LeBron James, it would have been a highly possibility of LeBron just walking away and leaving and going to LA. But look at what they were trying to build. And he had a second bite at the apple when he went to Boston with Jason Tatum in them boys. Brown and them boys. That team went all the way to the Eastern Conference Finals without Kyrie Irving. Just imagine if Kyrie Irving was a little bit more healthy, if he would have recommitted back to Boston, if KD would have recommitted back to the Golden State Warriors, life would be a lot better and less stressful for those two guys than currently what they are living in right now. If you look at Kawhi Leonard, he had a bite at the apple, not once, but twice. If he would have stayed with the San Antonio Spurs, who knows? He probably would have gotten another title there. If he would have stayed with the Toronto Raptors, if you look at what they have been doing thus far, who knows? He would probably go deep into the playoffs. But he took his talents to Los Angeles. He really wanted to be a Laker, but LeBron was already there, and he didn't want to play second or third fiddle to LeBron James. Went to the Los Angeles Clippers, paired up with Paul George, and they haven't even the closest they have went is to the Conference Western Finals. The struggle was real with those guys, even though I told you guys I didn't expect Kawhi Leonard to return this season. But everybody believes and thinks the grass is always greener on the other side. No, it's not. Sometimes it's more browner than the current lawn that you're standing on. But everybody loves to hop and jump ship and player and all these flashy terminology, shiny toys of player empowerment. I have the ability to do whatever I want. I can go wherever I want. Sometimes the grass is not always greener on the other side. Sometimes sticking it out pays hugely for you. Look at the Milwaukee Bucks. There was speculation that the Greek Freak was going to leave the Milwaukee Bucks and go elsewhere. But nope. The Greek Freak allowed the organization to make the moves that they was going to make the trades that they was going to make. He believed in the organization. The organization believed in him. And they won a title last year. And they're in the driver's seat of repeating. Winning another title. 2 in a row. They have the possibility of going 2 in a row as far as winning a title. The last person that done that was Kevin Durant when he was with the Golden State Warriors. But Kevin Durant got into his feelings. And I always said this about Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant thought going to the Golden State Warrior fans were going to treat him the same way as his former team, the Oklahoma City Thunder. But Kevin Durant had to accept that those fans were going to love Steph Curry, Draymond Green, Klay Thompson more than Kevin Durant. No matter how many titles they would have won, no matter how many MVPs he would have won, he would never dethrone or overtake those guys because those were homegrown guys. Think of it as New Edition. When Johnny Gill went to New Edition, Johnny Gill knew that he was never going to get the same homage, the same love, the same respect as the original members of New Edition. And he welcomed that. He welcomed that. I don't sit up here and bust my gums and just tell you guys what the whole world, what social media is telling you guys. I just tell the truth. I speak from the heart, and I speak from the perspective of real. And I give everybody their respects. I give LeBron James his respect. I give KD his respect. I give Kyrie his respect. I give Kawhi Leonard his respect. But let's just face facts. If they had a DeLorean and they can go back into the future with Michael J. Fox, you mean to tell me those guys, those cats I just mentioned, wouldn't go back into the past and do things a little differently if they knew what they knew now? You think LeBron would have, if he was able to go back into the future, he probably would have went back to the time when he was a member of, when he signed with the Los Angeles Lakers and said, you know what, I'm going to work with these young cats. You know, they say I'm the best facilitator of all time. I make any team better. So I'm going to work with these cats. Yeah, if we can get Anthony Davis for less, then we can get Anthony Davis for less. But you know what? I'm going to work with these cats, these young cats. I'm going to work with what we get in the draft, or if we can flip those draft pieces for additional younger talent. I'm going to work with these cats, and I probably would still get a ring without AD than with AD, and now those cats are gone. Larry Nance Jr. used to play alongside LeBron James. He's still playing in the playoffs. Brandon Ingram used to play alongside LeBron James. He's still in the playoffs. Alonzo Ball used to play. Josh Hart used to play. Alex Caruso used to play. And they're still in the playoffs, and LeBron James is sitting at home in his living room. If all things were being equal, if LeBron had awareness of the future and how it would have played out, LeBron would hop into that DeLorean and do things differently. But this ain't about LeBron James. What about Kawhi Leonard? If all things were equal and he can hop back at least to Toronto, he'll probably sign an extension with Toronto and see how it plays out in the East. I think when he was a member with the Toronto Raptors, he had a better shot and a better chance of winning the title than going west, young man, playing with the Clippers. Not to hate on the Clippers and the organization of the Clippers, but I feel like the Toronto Raptors roster is a lot better than the Clippers roster. At least Toronto is in the playoffs. Where the Clippers at? But if he can hop in his DeLorean, he'll probably do things a little differently. KD and Kyrie, if they can hop into the DeLorean with Michael J. Fox and go back into the future, KD will probably stay with the Golden State Warriors. Look what they done. They had to sacrifice 2 seasons, but look what they done. They're in the playoffs. And with Kyrie and KD, they barely made it to the playoffs. They had to go through the play-in tournament. And it looked like, now, if Jason Tatum goes down, bearing injury, it looked like the Boston Celtics can take that one. You giving the Boston Celtics way too much confidence, and they're probably saying to themselves, we can beat these guys in a 7-game series. If Kyrie can hop back in the DeLorean, you don't think he would say to himself, you know what, I should have just stayed in Boston. Look what the phenomenal things the Boston Celtics done. And yeah, Danny Ainge is no longer there. They got a new head coach. They've been consistently in the playoffs. Hell, they made it to the Eastern Conference Finals without me when I was injured. But see, these guys love to go on social media and talk about player empowerment, that the power is with the players, and the players know better, and the players can develop better. The players know who can play and who can't play. Sometimes all of that ego, all that hype that you listen to on a day in, day out basis, sometimes that can blind your vision on what's really important for the team. Sometimes the best clarity is the person that's in the front office. Sometimes the best clarity is the person that's sitting on the bench, the head coach sitting there and seeing what works, what don't work, what combinations make sense, what combinations don't make sense. You don't necessarily have to be on the floor to know everything. And I told you guys in that last slide, when I did the DOA death of the super teams, I told you guys this was going to be the possibility. And the possibility just happened. I'm not here to toot my own horn, but what I am here to tell you guys is that you got to change with the times. And now this new era, these players don't care about wanting to be right all the time or wanting to have power and control of the organization, because with great power comes great responsibility. Some players just want to go in, do their thing, contribute to the team, and let others do their job. There's a reason why you the general manager. Do your job. There's a reason why you're the head coach. Do your job. I'm doing mine, you do yours. But you know what? These guys will love to spew the narrative of player empowerment. We got to have player empowerment. They love to spew that nonsense. And when it doesn't go their way, they go into hiding. You had all these cats on television, on ESPN, the Kendrick Perkinsons, and all of these Steven Jacksons, and they up here telling y'all all this non-believe, make-believe stuff that the players know best, the players know more than anybody else, the players know more than the media members, the players know more than the coaches, the players know more than the owners and the GMs. The players know more than the fans. Well, how that's working out for the Brooklyn Nets? How's that working out for the Los Angeles Lakers? How that's working out for the Los Angeles Clippers? Because it's working fine in Brooklyn. It's working extremely well for Boston. It's working hunky-dory with the Dallas Mavericks, the Golden State Warriors, the Phoenix Suns. Even though the Phoenix Suns struggle, hey, I think y'all got a tough matchup with the New Orleans Pelicans. Ain't that a blimp? Let's talk about the New Orleans Pelicans for a minute. Everybody talk about when we go back to that trade, how everyone says, oh, well, clearly the New Orleans Pelicans lost that trade when they gave away Anthony Davis. I mean, Anthony Davis going to La La Land. You know, everybody talks about when a trade is complete, they talk about the now, but no one talks about down the road. Look at that trade now. The New Orleans Pelicans are in the playoffs without their best superstar. Meanwhile, the Los Angeles Lakers are sitting at home. Now, everybody going to come up with these excuses, going to tell you, well, they had a lot of injuries. You got to understand, they had a lot of injuries. Anthony Davis was in and out of the lineup. LeBron James was in and out of the lineup. That ridiculous trade that they made for Russell Westbrook. Well, if Anthony Davis is the end all and be all, why would you be in the position of trading for Russell Westbrook in the first place? Ask yourself that. If that trade was the end all and be all, then why are y'all stuck like Chuck with Russell Westbrook? Answer yourself this. After that trade, it wasn't even a full calendar basketball season, and y'all already talking about trading Russell Westbrook. Ask yourself that. If you got Anthony Davis, why would you think you needed Russell Westbrook? But that's stockpiling the team. That's that mentality of building a super team. And I'm not going to say no names. I ain't going to, a lot of people should take responsibility on co-signing that ridiculous trade when the better options were Buddy Hield, when the better options were signing DeMar DeRozan, where the better options were go ahead and sign Alex Caruso. But this player empowerment is going to be the death for a lot of organizations. trying to make these players happy. Look at Brooklyn and the Lakers right now. Who would have thought that they would be in the position where they are right now? And like I said, I give LeBron his props. I give Kevin Durant his props, but I keep it all the way 100 and funky about it on the other end of the perspective. And I told you guys in that live stream, this is not going to play out very well for both of those organizations. Both of them organizations are going to lose a coach. Steve Nash is pretty much his job is DON done. Okay. The Lakers have already done fired Frank Vogel. And y'all just think y'all just a coach away from making it into the NBA championship. No, y'all are many moons away from that. But anyway, I gotta go. It's your boy. I'll talk to you guys later. Deuces.